We welcome you to the Bay Area. A simply spectacular October Sunday afternoon, nearly midway point of the 1998 season, and a rare visit here for the Indianapolis Colts as they come west to take on the San Francisco 49ers. Hi once again, everybody. Vern Lundquist along with Randy Cross. This only the third time the Colts have come west to take on the 49ers since the merger of the AFL and the NFL in 1970, and they come in with a 1-5 mark. Randy, they run into a team that offensively is playing as well as anybody.
Oh, absolutely. And Steve Young's playing the quarterback position better than it's ever been played here in San Francisco. And Joe Montana included, that's really saying something. He's trying to go for a record today for the 6th consecutive game of passing for over 300 yards. And who'll be catching it? Another shock, Jerry Rice, also going for a record. He's going to try to tie Art Monk's record of 183 consecutive games with a catch.
On the other side of the coin, Indianapolis comes in, and this is not a shock. 1-5, really in the beginning of a rebuilding project.
But they're a very upbeat 1-5 because of Peyton Manning and the things that Peyton Manning has done early. He's doing a great job passing the ball. He's making some mistakes, as you can see, with the interceptions, but he's got Marshall Faulk behind him. Marshall Faulk is not running for a great average at 3.3 yards a crack, but they'll run him in the first play. They'll run him a lot early, and that sets up a play action. This team has to play clean. They can't make the mistakes, Vern.
Indianapolis lost the toss. Chris Gardocki getting ready to kick off, and the deep men, Chuck Levy and R.W. McQuarters, there's the rookie from Oklahoma State, had a punt return called back, a touchdown on a punt return called back because of a penalty last week in New Orleans. He is an exciting return man.
It's another thing to look at here for this 49er team is the number of penalties they've committed. 22 were accepted 2 weeks ago against Buffalo, and that's something that drives Steve Mariucci nuts because people associate that with non-disciplined football, and there's nothing he hates worse.
Underway, the kick will be taken by R.W. McQuarters at the 3, across the 20 and down at the 25-yard line. 3 wide receiver set as Terrell Owens comes on to join the 49ers on the first play from scrimmage. That's Rice in motion. Steve Young goes to his left rather, and it's incomplete. Intended for J.J. Stokes. Pretty well. 2nd down and 10. Hand off Mark Edwards. He comes right and is jammed up after a moderate gain of a yard. Tackle made by Steve Morrison, number 52, and Edwards will give way now to Terrell Owens.
And the Niner offense, when Steve Mariucci gets this thing going, he wants it to be almost like watching a dance. So rhythmic, such as it goes bang and bang, and he's got Steve Young with the pass and Garrison Hurst with the run. And when they get off to tough starts, a lot of the times it's Steve Mariucci by formation, by plays, trying to establish something against the other defense and sort of forgetting about rhythm.
Chuck Levy was a late add to the offensive set, and Garrison Hurst comes wide to the right. That's J.J. Stokes out of the backfield. Here's the pass across the middle to Stokes, and that'll be good for a 1st and 10 at the 36-yard line. A gain of 11, 1st down, 49ers.
Well, one thing you've got to be very careful of when you play this San Francisco offense is when you play zone, because Steve Young will absolutely shred a zone defense, and in that case he got zone, he got J.J. Stokes the ball, and if you do it too much, you're going to be giving up so many yards it's going to kill you. The Indianapolis defense really has to be more aggressive and try to get inside on Steve Young.
Garrison Hurst in a slot to the right side on 1st and 10. Here's Young with a play fake. Comes to J.J. Stokes. He's got it one-on-one. The tackle made by Jeff Burris, number 20. In his first season, of course, as head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. Jim Mora, longtime coach in New Orleans, retired to the broadcast booth for a year, and is back a much calmer man.
He really is. That 1 year away from the game, I think, really charged him up. You know, the last year or two in New Orleans were such a miserable experience for him. He seems completely different when you sit down and talk to him because he knows it's not a win-now situation. It's the future.
Garrison Hurst in motion on 2nd and 3. Play fake. Here's the catch made by Jerry Rice, and he has now tied Art Monk. That's 183 consecutive games in which Jerry Rice has caught a pass. He's tied with Art Monk all-time National Football League.
When you've got play action going hard to the right, the defense reacts to the offense's right, then you're dragging Jerry Rice back across the side. There's an example of when you're in a zone defense, how susceptible you are to this 49er offense. Because when you react like that, you get out of position on the zones, and it can be deadly.
Here's the handoff to Hurst to the quick opener at right tackle. He bursts inside the 40. Jeff Burris makes the tackle, but a gain of 9 for Garrison Hurst.
The way this offensive line for San Francisco is built, it's a reaction to what defenses do now. Everybody's got big defensive tackles. So Bob McKittrick, their offensive line coach, has got big offensive guards and centers and athletes at the outside to tackle.
2nd and 1, beg your pardon. A gain of 9 on the last play. And the ball at the 37-yard line. That's Rice in motion. Handoff goes to Hurst. Nothing in the middle, so he'll dart to the corner and picks up another 49er first down inside the 30. A gain of 8. Jeff Burris, number 20, with the tackle.
Garrison Hurst has been such a great addition to this offense because of what he can do here. A play designed to go in besides the lead block of Edwards. He says the heck with it, goes outside and almost gets away with that straight arm on Jeff Burris, putting that hand right in his chops.
Garrison Hurst, who opened the season with a record 96-yard touchdown run in overtime. Game 1 here to defeat the Jets. Back split, Young back to throw. Into the flat it goes. Ankle tackle made on Garrison Hurst as he gets across the 30. Tyrone Poole, number 38, all 5'8", 190 pounds.
Tyrone Poole going against these 49er receivers is a mismatch physically, but he told us yesterday, look, I know they're bigger than me. I know they're stronger than me, but I'm still going to get up. I'm going to jam them. I'm going to get in their faces, and I'm going to take my shots to try to destroy that rhythm we've been talking about of that 49er offense.
Well, Tyrone Poole had Garrison Hurst that time. This time he gets Terrell Owens, who runs 6'3". Owens in motion and the adjustment made. Play fake. Young flips it away. Couldn't find anybody open and got rid of it. Mark Edwards was in the area.
Especially early against a team like San Francisco, you hear so much about the scripts of this 49er offense. Plays like that, a defense has to be so aware of, and Rusty Tillman's defense did a nice job of not overreacting to what they see, because defenses playing this offense, like Denver's offense, can sometimes kind of hyperventilate, getting excited about how they're going to stuff them early, and they overreact.
On 3rd down, the 49ers go with 4 wide receivers and Levy in the running back spot. Mark Harris has joined the quartet. Young gets time, goes across the middle for Terrell Owens inside the 15. A gain of 15 before Jason Belzer, number 29, makes the tackle.
One of the weaknesses of this defense is in the center of the football field with the safeties, who have to be so aggressive with this bad rushing defense. You can take advantage of their aggressive nature on the run defense with one-on-one matchups like this. They're not great cover guys. Belzer gets hammered there by Owens as he makes that catch.
Jerry Rice, bottom of your screen to the right side. Young looks for Rice, scrambles to his left, being chased. Whittington gets chased, and Young is out of bounds after the run at the 9-yard line. Bernard Whittington, number 95, tried to catch him.
Well, what a nice job, though, by the Indianapolis defense, covering all these receivers down the field. Because, look, Jerry Rice is looking at the safeties, trying to get a read of whether or not he can get the ball, or Steve Young is trying to get the ball to Jerry Rice by reading the safeties. They're doing a good job. He can't get the ball to J.J. Stokes. He's covered, you see right in front of him. Now he's got to run. You didn't see this that much last year out of Steve Young. This is part of the new and expanded offense, with Young not worrying about these concussions and being turned loose.
12 play of the drive, back split, 3 receivers again. Owens in the slot. They hand it on the draw. Garrison Hurst tries to cut inside. Jason Belzer is there with the shoulder and drives him down at the 5, perhaps the 4-yard line.
And part of the problem, as you're seeing, is the rhythm, is the multifaceted part of this offense. And when you've got a good lead blocker right there by Chuck Levy, 32, the halfback, lead blocking for Hurst, that sets it all up. But you're talking about, do we worry about the run? Do we worry about the slot receiver, the outside receiver?
A lot of options.
It's not easy to defense this offense.
3rd and 1 at the 4. And a whistle prior to the snap would indicate a timeout call by the Indianapolis Colts. So they burn one of their 3. A long sustained drive And we're in the midst of it. The San Francisco 49ers will have third down when we return. Third and 1 at the 4 with 8:28 to go in the first quarter. This the 13th play of the drive.
And this is the part of the field that Steve Young and Jerry Rice seem to hook up every single game. It hasn't been. I mean, it's 78 touchdowns together, one short of the record held by Marino and Clayton. But it seems like when you see Jerry Rice in motion, he's getting the ball.
He is in the slot to the left now on third down. They hand it off up the middle. Garrison Hurst. That will be a fresh series of downs for the 49ers. It'll be first and goal after Hurst gets 2. Well, Jim Mora is saying one way to stay in this game is to force them to go 3 and out and eat some of the clock yourself.
Well, Jim Mora is seeing Steve Mariucci do something that this football team has to do against the better teams. I mean, Jim Mora knows that this is a big play offense. What he really doesn't want to see, though, is just killing this clock with these long drives.
And another whistle prior to the snap. Referee today is Walt Coleman. And the Colts. Wow.
Second team timeout.
Whoa.
That was not Jim Mora's idea, and that reaction tells you that. That's a waste.
Colts have 1 timeout left.
Only 10 players on the field. That's why the timeout was called by Jason Belzer.
And
that's
now,
a dumb mistake.
First and goal. Hand off on the sweep to Garrison Hurst. Nice defensive play to drive him out of bounds. Tyrone Poole.
Well, you want to talk about his size? You know, 5'8". Is he willing to get up there and get physical? I mean, he had a wide receiver blocking in his face. He does not let that bother him. See, Mark Edwards, the fullback, will lead you to the ball against this offense. Had Big Ray Brown try to get a block on Tyrone Poole, but he just filled up and made a first-class open field tackle.
Well, the Colts are thin at linebacker coming in, and they've got an injured linebacker on the ground now at the 3-yard line, Elijah Alexander. Jeff Herod supposed to start at the middle, unable to go because of an injury, though he is suited up. And now Alexander, who might be the best of the remaining linebackers out there, is down in his 7th year from Kansas State.
I'm not exactly positive if they would not be better off with more defensive backs and less linebackers anyway. They're short on linebackers, but you know, Jim Mora's defense has got to change things up so much against this offense. Maybe playing more defensive backs, obviously not in the goal line situation, but that would be a lot better idea against this offense.
Elijah Alexander, the injured player, at the 3-yard line. Andre Royal has already come on the field. He'll take his place.
And one thing unusual today in the Bay Area, it's just a beautiful day, but it's actually warm down there on the field. They said it was a high of 70 today. It's in the 80s down there on that football field.
Well, those who live here say October is among the best months. And it's been gorgeous today.
You know, as good as the weather is, they still can't get that sodded grass to look good.
No.
They sod that infield here at Candlestick Park. You know, the baseball giants play here, and it is just ugly. Always has been, though. There's no real newness there. See, there's a sodded area, the lighter green. It's been rolled. It's been stamped. But it is still a situation where you have a tough time with your footing. Right in the middle of the screen, number 50 right here, Elijah Alexander. He's being blocked by Mark Edwards off that lead block, and then he just falls down to the ground.
So Elijah Alexander over on the Colt bench. It'll be 2nd down and goal at the 3. Opening drive of the game. And we've chewed up almost half the first quarter. Jerry Rice is in the lineup and in motion. Play fake. Young pulls up, looks, scrambles, still looks, and still runs. He's down at the 3-yard line.
That might have been one of the better defensive fire drills I've seen in a while. Because again, Indianapolis ran a player late onto the field. What is it about goal line defense? You can't figure out. You might be able to do it better with 11 guys. But they've got Steve Young's receivers covered down the field from the get-go. He had Owens and Rice to the left. They had those guys covered with 3 receivers from the start. He has nowhere to go. And good filling up job by this defense, who did this all on the run, folks, believe me. Well, see, now, you got to understand, he's waving for the ball. Jerry Rice has never not been open.
Jerry Rice wide right. 3rd and goal. Backs in the eye. Blitz coming. And another whistle prior to the snap. So the play negated. And Walt Coleman will let us know what happened.
Snap. False start. 83 of the offense. 5 yards. Still 3rd down.
J.J. Stokes, and of course I think everybody around the country knows about the penalty situation with the 49ers. They were flagged 27 times in Buffalo, 22 were accepted, and 14 more last week.
And that qualifies as your basic dumb mistake. That's not a mistake of effort. That's a mistake because, you know, you're just not thinking. And offsides and false starts, as you can see, as the #1 penalty team, is the one that's always killed team across the bay in Oakland and is now really plaguing these Niners.
Stokes in motion on 3rd and goal from the 8. Young, good. Oh, no. He's still up. Now he's not. Al Fontenot was the first there, and Young is down. Well, you see him down, you think concussion.
Well, his protection, Vern, looked good to start with, but Bernard Whittington coming around on a game right there, number 99, not Whittington, it's Al Fontenot getting that penetration, and Steve Young just gets collared and dragged down. I don't think that's anything serious for Steve Young, but that's a mistake you don't see that offensive line make often for the 49ers.
And at the end of all of that, Wade Ritchie, the rookie, is going to come on and try a field goal. He is 6 of 10 for the year.
This is a win for the Colts to hold this team to a field goal after a long drive.
Okay.
It's an especial win and brings to mind Wade Ritchie's nickname at Louisiana State. They called him Wide Ritchie. There is a flag down at the 15-yard line. Time has been called. Flag was thrown on the unsuccessful field goal. It was thrown after the kick. It was a personal foul on Ray Brown of the 49ers. So the 15-yard foul was tacked on from the point of the kick, and all of that comes to naught.
Exactly. And on the sideline, you see Bob McKittrick there with the glasses on his forehead and the headset, who is doing the whole thing as far as what happened on that protection.
After the kick was over, penalty is assessed from the 20-yard line. 1st down for Indianapolis.
For the Colts. Here's the handoff to Falk on the sweep to the left side. Breaks the tackle. Cuts back. He's got some room. There are no flags. He's being chased by Darnell Walker. It's a foot race. Falk is in for the touchdown. A 65-yard electrifying moment on the first play for Marshall Falk.
Want to talk about the best possible way Jim Mora thought he could start with this football game against Steve Mariucci's Niners? Hold them scoreless when they really should have had some points. They missed the kick, and first play, you see non-aggressive, sloppy tackling, a missed tackle there by a 49er, some good downfield blocking by the Indianapolis Colts wide receivers, and just Marshall Falk by the hair on his chinny chin getting in there right at the pylon.
Marshall Falk told us last night he is as healthy as he has been really since his first year in college.
And he is this offense right now.
Vanderjagt with the extra point. Mike Vanderjagt, the elderly rookie. He's 28 years of age, played in Canada a couple of years. But the story here, the career longest run from Marshall Falk. Another sellout crowd here at 3Com Park, stunned. Marshall Falk, 65 yards for the first touchdown of the game. In 1994, he rumbled one 52 yards against Houston. That had been his previous career long.
That was just flat out good execution by Indianapolis and incredibly sloppy and overreacting defense by the 49ers, who made such a point the other day saying, we just have to stop the big plays. We'll be all right. Duh.
Here's R.W. McQuarters at the 7. That's a short kick. And McQuarters loses his balance and is down at the 25.
Watch the critical block here, though. This is Dilger, 85, the tight end in motion. Why is it the critical block? he's going to get a little ding on Chris Dolman, who is the only 49er to lay a hand on Marshall Faulk that entire run. Look at that block downfield by Harrison. Just smashes Walker, the backside corner. Just wonderful execution and bad defense by San Francisco. Best case scenario start for Jim Mora.
And the 49ers open their second offensive set with a handoff inside to Garrison Hurst. He moves up to the 29-yard line.
And this is really a test, I think, for the 49ers going against the Colts, because remember 2 weeks ago, the 49ers made all those penalties, got off to a terrible start against Buffalo, and lost at Buffalo, which maybe isn't that bad considering Buffalo beat Jacksonville earlier today on CBS. But San Francisco's got the rhythm, but they're making the dumb mistakes that drive Mariucci nuts.
Second down and 6. Young back, pumps. Has some pressure from the backside. They got him. Berry got there first. Bertrand Berry, the second-year man from Notre Dame. That is his second sack of the season.
You know, Burt Berry's a defensive end that was a linebacker in college. But look at the pump fake. The defense not overreacting. Steve Young's got nowhere to go, and he never even sees Burt Berry. Nice job by Young of guarding the football, because Berry could have very easily stripped it out from the backside.
Loss of 3. It's 3rd and 9, and the 49ers go with the triple receiver set, and Chuck Levy's in the backfield. Only a 2-man rush, a little zone blitz out of the backfield. Here comes Levy, and a missed tackle from Monty Montgomery, number 34, allows Levy the extra yardage and a first down.
Just a little sneak route by Levy, who's in the backfield and just sort of tries to weave his way through the big guys. Watch him just sort of weave and weave and weave and weave. This is just the back's job, is to avoid the big people so he can cut across the field. See, Levy starts at that right halfback, cuts across, almost hits the umpire. And now we talked about bad defense and bad tackling earlier. That's some bad tackling by Indianapolis, who had to play defense.
First down and 10. Edwards, Young rather. Here comes the rush. They got him. Steve Morrison coming on the blitz. And Anthony Jordan was also there.
Yeah, I think just from body language, Steve Young has had just about enough of this right now for this start, in the way he's already been put on the ground a couple times. Very soft corner. Very soft corner. Outside linebacker not blocked. Inside linebacker not blocked. That is a mental mistake. I guarantee you Steve Mariucci did not come into this game with an offensive game plan that had free linebackers running in his backfield in it on Steve Young.
Loss of 6. That's 4 sacks already. Young had been sacked only 11 times in the previous 5 games. Here's Young into the flat. Levy again. And good defensive pursuit forces him out of bounds. Jeff Burris was right there. It'll be 3rd down. And murmurs from the crowd.
Well, this crowd is probably one of the NFL's definitions of spoiled, having seen such great football for 20 years. And, you know, they're used to the fact that, you know, their quiche hasn't gotten cold yet, and the Niners are usually on the board for a couple touchdowns.
A fine Montrachet. 3rd and 18. Young deep left side. Man coverage. Poole is there to knock it away from Jerry Rice. And Young is on his back at the 20-yard line. 4 sacks already, and he was belted then.
For all the joy and all the excitement Steve Young came into this game with, and the style of play, Indianapolis and Jim Mora are just going somewhere right under his chin and bringing blitzes, and linemen are smacking him. Steve Mariucci better fix this, or we'll see a lot of Ty Detmer.
Tyrone Poole waits for Reggie Roby's punt on 4th down. That one hangs up. Poole is going to let it bounce. That was tipped by a Colt, and here we go down the sideline. It was tipped by a Colt. And Jason Belzer picked it up. A 51-yard return. Poole waved his teammates off.
Jim Mora is seeing his football team in white be the smart team, and Steve Young's football team is not being the smart team. And Steve Mariucci right now has gone through a couple layers of enamel on his teeth, because I guarantee you, folks, he is grinding them. That was another dumb mistake by that coverage team. Don't assume anything.
Second play from scrimmage. Peyton Manning changing. Hands it off to Falk. They'll test the middle. Inside the 5 at the 4. Well, it was one of the Colts. Let's go back and look at it again, Randy, who touched it.
Reggie Roby gets off a fairly decent effort punt-wise, and the coverage team starts hitting it. Now watch where it hits. Right there, right off the top of the helmet of the outside gunner. Gets off the helmet, bounces to Belzer. That's part bad coverage and an awful lot of luck.
Peyton Manning rolls right. Freelancing has a man wide open in the end zone. Harrison for the touchdown. A 4-yard play as Harrison got loose. He got behind Antonio Langham, who has been victimized time and time again in this 98 season.
Watch the beginning of the route. This is how, if you're a defender, you play this part of the route. Now the quarterback scrambles. Harrison adjusts. Defensive back slides out of bounds. You want to talk about a dull thud opening for a very confident football team in San Francisco. And these guys, led by Peyton Manning, especially on offense, have got an awful lot of spring in their step for Indianapolis.
Bandit Jack's extra point is up and good. A 51-yard return by Jason Belzer after one of his teammates quite literally used his head. Colts have won one. It came at home against San Diego, and they have shocked this 3Com crowd by going up 14-0 in the first quarter. R.W. McQuarters to the left, Chuck Levy to the right, ready to return yet another kickoff from the Indianapolis Colts. This one, another short kick by Gardocki, is taken by McQuarters at the 13-yard line, and he is knocked down by Jordan at the 29-yard line. Anthony Jordan, who got the start at linebacker today.
We talked earlier about how clean that Colt team had to play to stay in a game with San Francisco, and really this Colts defense and offense have played very clean, and sort of the opposite of clean is what happens here once again on this punt. You see Reggie Roby's punt will come down. Watch the right side of the screen. You've got the gunner for the San Francisco punt team running down, and Rico Clark right there, number 27 in white. Ball off the top of his head. Obviously a heads-up play, you might say, on both sides by Ian Belzer.
Here's Garrison Hurst across the middle.
Easy, guys. Easy.
And a little fracas, quiet fracas with Kevin Gogan, a part of it. Well, let's check in on the sideline with the third member of our commentary team, Michelle Tafoya.
All right, Vern, well, there's no question that the 49ers came into this game very loose, and many members of the Colts told me no matter what the Niners say, there is no way they're not taking us lightly. So we're going to go out there, we're going to do our best, and we're going to try to take advantage of that. They've done just that, Vern.
All right, Michelle, indeed, second down and 7. Here's Young, pumps once, comes into the right side, and Garrison Hurst was not ready for it. Whoa.
You know, I think Michelle's all over the fact of what kind of a preparation schedule there was here for the 49ers from a mental standpoint. There's a fine line between arrogance and confidence. And San Francisco right now seems to have come into this game arrogant and are paying for it. Tyrone Poole, look at that. Physical, stop the timing, and frustrate Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice can be physically frustrated by a football player. It's exactly what Tyrone Poole told us last night, and so far he's doing it.
And the key, Randy, in part, jamming those receivers at the line. Now here goes Rice, and the pass. Whoa, boy.
Oh, Robert Blackman had one right there. This offense, you talk about the rhythm. They're dancing like Clydesdales right now. There's not much rhythm to this offense. It's kind of clippity-clop, clippity-clop. And at what point of your hot quarterback career, how many times do you think Steve Young, when he was 12 years old, heard that? Try not to throw back across your body into the middle of the field. He almost paid for it.
Low snap, Roby.
Let him go. Let him go.
Tyrone Poole will return this, takes it at the 18-yard line, and is cut down as he gets to the 16. How about this one? 25. Well, I wouldn't be dancing if it was 20. You know, 14-0.
You're down 14 zip. You celebrate that? Give me a break. That's stupid.
This will be the 4th play from scrimmage for the Colts. They lead at 14-0. Manning back, pumps once, goes deep, has a man. Harrison, catch is made. No, now they're going to rule no catch. Antonio Langham defending.
Antonio Langham, when we talked to him Friday, knew full well they were going to come after him. They've come after him a couple of times. They had him on a slip for a touchdown. There's Langham's going to be at the top of your screen at corner, right there. Harrison's wide open. Manning gives him the ball perfectly, and Langham does a great job of ripping that ball out. There's a nice look at it right there. He's got the ball. He's about to hug it, and Langham rips it out.
I'm not so sure he didn't have possession.
Maybe so briefly.
Yeah. 2nd and 10. Falk, big hole. And he scoots out across the 25 to the 27-yard line. That's another big gain. Merton Hanks and Winford Tubbs.
Vern, let me get to my stats here, but watch this section of the field. Tariq Glenn right there at left tackle. Now, which one of these defenses came in here as the worst rushing defense in the NFL? Great lead block by Craig Hayward on Ken Norton at inside linebacker. Nice job by Glenn at left tackle leading. I mean, they have got the Niner defense, you know, came in smug, and now they're getting mugged.
1st and 10 after the 11-yard gain. Final moments of the first quarter. It's been a shocker. Here's Manning. Wings it, has a man open at the 39-yard line. The catch is made. Marvin Harrison again. That's a pickup of 13 yards and another Indianapolis first down. That's the end of the first quarter with our score. I kid you not, 14-zip Indianapolis. We'll return to 3Com Park after this message and a word from your local station. We begin quarter number 2. The Colts have a first down and 10 at their own 40 and a 14-0 lead. And Craig Hayward, new to the team, anticipates the snap count and starts a little prematurely.
Prior to the snap, false start, 33 of the offense, 5 yards, still first down.
We could say it was a new cadence or a new voice for Jim Mora's new fullback, Hayward. You know, Craig Hayward, the only voices he was hearing were starters on golf courses for the last couple of weeks as he sat back saying, okay, which team am I going to during this sort of inflicted holdout with the St. Louis Rams.
Now, we chatted with him briefly last night. He does look slimmed down.
Yeah, he is. He is. He's eaten half of everything.
Yeah.
So how'd you lose it? He goes, well, I ate half a piece of chicken or half a salad or half a piece of fish.
He had a half a sushi last night. Half an order of sushi, painful. Right? Yeah. Here's Manning and Marvin Harrison in front of Antonio Langham. Langham came over as an unrestricted free agent after 4 years with the Ravens and the Browns. To say that he's had a troubled start in San Francisco is to put it very politely.
And he's gotten a lot of help from the guys around him, but he's getting no help from Harrison and Manning, who are coming into this game saying, we're going after you. And there's a case of Harrison making a beautiful field level catch there of that pass from Peyton Manning. But 14-0, you're down to a Colt team. Langham and this defense can't let these guys puff up anymore. I mean, this offense is starting to think they're pretty good.
2nd and 6. Colts by 14. Left side, and another completed pass. This one in front of Darnell Walker, and it was caught by Jerome Pathan, the rookie from Washington. Peyton Manning 4 of 5, and his team up by 14 on the road in 3Com Park with a 1st and 10 at the 49 or 47-yard line. A lot of protection inside, tipped and incomplete. It was Langham who made the play then on Marvin Harrison. Langham said last week they were down in New Orleans. He had had a particularly difficult game in the loss in Buffalo. And during warm-ups, he said Steve Young came up to him, looked him in the eye, and said, listen to me, there's no place you're going that I haven't been. Listen to me again. There's no place you're going where I haven't been. I believe in you, and I think you'll play well. Meant a lot to him.
And that was a nice play there on that isolation. I mean, but he's going to be tested over and over, and mostly deep.
Here's the sweep to Falk, and he's down to the 42-yard line. That will bring up a first down at the San Francisco. Might give him the 41.
What this is really creating, though, the Marshall Falk factor, looking at the way this offense is moving, is the situations for Peyton Manning that they really want. You think that isn't a little inflated by that one long run? But when you're averaging 20 yards a crack, you got a pretty good shot at having an effective offense. But it's getting the offense and Peyton Manning into these shorter situations. They're used to 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12. You can work with 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5.
And a 14-0 lead. They'll go out of the shotgun. Jay Lewinberg will snap it back. 49ers threaten the blitz. They're bringing 4. And Manning has a lot of time and puts it low and catchable at the 25. And this time it's Torrance Small. A 15-yard gain, and Peyton Manning is having a lot of time to find his receivers.
Torrance Small coming out of the slot. But watch what he does and where he gets this ball from Peyton Manning. There's no way Walker, 38 the corner, has any shot at getting that. Peyton Manning's ball control and placement right now is right on, because he gave that 6'3 receiver Small the ball where only he could catch it.
Backs in the eye, first down. Here's Falk. It was Lamont Warren who had come in on that play, number 21.
Shane Bonham, number 78, made part of that play too. He's been out for the 49ers, had a bicep problem in his arm. In fact, you see that great big brace he's got on that left arm. It's one of those mechanical contraptions you see now. A guy can come back in 4 weeks and play with a brace where it might have had to wait 6 weeks in the past to have the proper brace and the proper support around it.
2nd down and 8. 14-0. Indianapolis leads. Early moments, 2nd quarter. Manning across the middle to a wide open Marshall Falk to the 10. 1st and goal, Colts.
Vern, if you thought the natives here were getting a little bit restless after that last touchdown, watch what happens here when this defense opens up inside. Watch the inside of the defense as Marshall Falk comes out of the backfield position. Just a little circle route. Defense in man. There's nobody to drop off for Marshall Falk. This defense of San Francisco is making Peyton Manning and Marshall Falk and his receivers look awfully good.
Colts threaten again. 1st and goal at the 6. This their first sustained drive. That's Lamont Warren in motion. Manning goes in the corner. Oh, baby. That could have gone 99 to the north.
Walker, 38. Darnell Walker has had 4 of those this year where he's got his hands on balls. And John Marshall, the defensive coordinator for the 49ers, says what we're not doing now is when we get a chance to make a play, we're not making the play. We're knocking down the balls that should be caught to stop a drive. Will this cost the 49er defense? We're going to find out, but that should have been an interception.
Pathan goes left. Lamont Warren stays in the backfield. The 12th play of the drive for the Colts. Manning looks right all the way. Got it. Touchdown. Harrison gets another grab of 6 yards. His 2nd touchdown today. And the Colts lead the 49ers 20-0.
I'm not sure if this 49er team has much panic in it, but if you got any giddy-up juice on that sideline, you better start spreading it around, because the Dull Thud Award for this Sunday is going to the San Francisco 49ers, who, after not intercepting the last ball, pay for it on the next play with a touchdown by Harrison.
Defending again, Antonio Langham, whose long days continue. The extra point is up and hammered through, so they have done it 3 ways now. They had a 65-yard run for a touchdown by Falk, a punt return off a guy's head of 51, and now a 13-play drive for 7. Shockingly, the guys in red find themselves down 21-0.
Because of what Peyton Manning's doing. I talked about ball placement and where he's putting his passes. That's not the prettiest pass. It's got a little wobble on it, but it's in the perfect spot for Harrison to catch, and Antonio Langham can't do anything about it.
Gardocki to kick off again, and it's another short one taken by R.W. McQuarters. He's got some room, and he's spilled at the 32-yard line. So the San Francisco 49ers with 10:40 2:47 to go, first half. Trail at home by 21. Well, when those guys on the cable car hear this score, they're going to fall off. 21-0. You can count me as shocked.
Absolutely. But, you know, Steve Mariucci says, I hate to hear the word undisciplined associated with my football team. This is an arrogant, undisciplined football team early in this football game, and they are paying the price as they should.
Now they find a hole. Here's Young. He finds his tight end, Clark. Second catch of the season for Greg Clark. Last week he caught a touchdown grab of 1 yard. And that's good to move the chains out to the 47-yard line is where they'll put it. Now talking with the Colts last night, they said there's no way they don't overlook us.
They had to, and it looks like it, Vern. You know, and to hear them say it was like, yeah, but, you know, you're probably right, but they seemed ready. We were pretty wrong on that.
Rice and Owens, top of the screen. This is Jerry Rice in motion. Young settles into the flat. One-on-one. The tackle is broken. Garrison Hurst had been caught behind the line by Steve Morrison, but he broke the tackle and picks up 17.
And this is something you're going to see more and more as the season goes on in this offense with Garrison Hurst. You know, he comes in with 481 yards rushing, but he's got 259 yards receiving. And Steve Young last week worked him into the game plan in the middle of the field with the screen passes. Here he breaks Morrison's tackle, gets down the field on the outside. Don't be fooled, though. The Niners got a little lucky on that pass. Morrison was almost there to knock it down and intercept it.
Back-to-back big pass plays. And the 49ers have a first down. Here's Young. Jerry Rice. Somebody slipped up. I don't think you leave him uncovered. But that's where he was. That's a gain of 11.
And also sometimes a game plan or a specific play call can make a player become uncovered. This is a play that starts out Jerry Rice in the slot right in here. The play starts out as a quick sprint to the left, and then you just see the linebackers dropping and dropping, and Jerry Rice just flattens out when he feels that. That is a feel play by the receiver and his quarterback.
Backs in the eye. Third big pass play in succession. Play fake. Young hopes they bite, and he goes for Rice, who's double covered. Robert Blackman was inside the 10 on Jerry Rice, who now is going to make an official complaint.
Well, yeah, he's now going into his official plea to the official. Don't you know who I am? Those guys aren't allowed to pull and push on me. I'm the guy that pulls and pushes here and gets away with it. Tyrone Poole disrupting the rhythm, getting a hit in. He got away with a grab there. That was a grab by Poole, but he's physically getting into the receiver's head. That's what he wanted to do in this game.
And Tyrone Poole said last night during a brief conversation, word is you can get his mind off the game if you can muscle him at the line. Here's Young, who's been sacked 4 times already, getting rid of it over the head of Terrell Owens. And let's check in once again with Michelle Tafoya.
Well, Vern, the Colts were worried about depth at linebacker. As you said, they've taken a big hit. Elijah Alexander, who was hurt in the first quarter, is out for the remainder of the game with a separated shoulder. Guys, back up to you.
Not good news. Alexander in his 7th year from Kansas State.
And actually has been making the plays. Bill Polian, the general manager at Indianapolis, now says of all our defenders, a guy that, you know, really is a guy making the plays and can play for more than a couple teams in the league is Elijah Alexander.
Young under pressure. Dances backwards. He is chased. Gets a great block way back and now lets it go incomplete in the end zone. Derek Deese really got a block back at the 45.
All 5 of the offensive linemen for the 49ers ended up on a knee. But watch Derek Deese lined up at the right tackle the whole way. This offensive line has to work. There's nothing open. He's going to scramble. And this is a situation for a lineman. It's kind of a nightmare. You don't know where the quarterback's going to be. See the great block by Deese. You just got to keep blocking. You don't know how long, and that gets tired.
Ritchie from 43 yards away has plenty of distance and knocks this one home. So he missed a short kick at the end of a 16-play game opening drive, but he does get the 49ers on the board. Back to play now as Wade Ritchie gets set to kick off. 21-3 midway through the second quarter. The Colts playing here for the first time since 1986 and only the 3rd time since 1970. Lamont Warren waits for the kickoff.
Colts defense again holds that 49er offense to a field goal attempt on the first one.
That's a short kick. Takes a bounce at the 5. Lamont Warren has it and runs into a nice open field tackle. Reggie Gibbons makes the stop. The 49ers, for the second time, put together a lengthy drive. This time they get something out of it. A 43-yard field goal after 7 plays in 2 minutes and 39 seconds. Now the Colts, 1st and 10.
And this is a situation now you're going to see a little something else of Peyton Manning. It's one thing to have the rhythm and everything's going great and you're getting the ball down the field. Now you're facing a defense and you're backed up on the road. How do you react to this extra noise and the extra pressure?
Yet to be sacked in this game, has not been sacked in the last 2 prior to this one. Play fake, has time. Across the middle, it's caught by Falk. He's out to the 12-yard line. Marshall Falk has had a big game thus far.
Hey, Jim Morris says, hey, look, first play of the game, I'm running Marshall Falk. What's he do? Breaks 1 tackle by Chris Dolman and goes the rest of the way for the touchdown. Another great run later on a next drive. A nice pass reception over the middle of the field on a good circle route. Right now, he's not all the offense, but he's sure a big old chunk.
Twin sets to the left side on 2nd down and 7. High formation. They'll hand it to Falk. Dances to his left and gets across the 15 down to the 16-yard line. That'll leave him 4 yards short of a first down. 21-3. The 49ers went 16 plays in the length of the field and missed a chip shot field goal to open the game. And then on their first play from scrimmage, Falk went 65 for the score. They held the 49ers. There was a punt that hit the top of Rico Clark's head, returned 51 yards by Jason Belzer. That set up a short pass. Harrison got it. And then Harrison another one.
They played clean and then they played smart. Here's another smart test.
3rd and 4. 4-man rush by the 49ers. The pass is tipped and incomplete. Intended for Torrance Small, number 87. So 3 and out for the Colts. Darnell Walker was the defender closest to the ball.
Now you put your punt team in a situation. Chris Gardocki, number 17 there, is just going to have to pound this just to get it out of Colt territory.
And punt coverage has not been a strong point for Indianapolis. Gardocki's had 12 of his punts returned for an average of 16 yards per. And R.W. McQuarters can really counterpunch. Here's McQuarters at the 31. Flag is down back at the line of scrimmage. So if it stands, it's a 53-yard punt and a 9-yard return, but it's going to be a holding call against the Colts. And the 49ers probably will want to take another chance with this.
Just playing the percentages, you have a football team kick this one again to 5 yards or 10 yards, half the distance of the goal line, backed up. Now you're kicking out of your end zone. It's a worse situation for your punter. You definitely make him do it again.
Holding, number 40 of the offense. Half the distance. Repeat 4th down.
Ray McElroy, the guilty party. Well, a Colt team that comes in here 17.5-point underdogs, and they have shocked everybody. Jim Mora's team up 21-zip. They just yielded a field goal. Now let's take a look at the hold.
Watch the right side of the punt team. There you see number 40 there for the Indianapolis Colts making the hold on that play. Exactly why Ray McElroy was flagged, was for that grab. But now the premium is on a quick, accurate snap and getting the ball out of this end zone.
Bradford Bantha is the man who will snap it back. And the Gardocki punt. Returnable. McQuarters at the 45. Gets a block. And a nice saving tackle is made by the Colts. Andre Royal, number 56. That's a 47-yard punt and 10 on the return. But the 49ers will open up their offense in good shape. 6 minutes and 21 seconds remaining in the opening half of play at 3Com Park, San Francisco. Steve Young and the 49ers have a 1st and 10 at the Indianapolis 46-yard line, and they go with 4 wide receivers. Young 10 of 18 for 95 yards. The negative, he's been sacked 4 times already. 2 left, 2 right. 1 linebacker for the Colts. Ball play, Garrison Hurst. And he's got a big opening. Bumps into his own man who was providing a downfield block at the 35-yard line. It was J.J. Stokes. But Hurst picks up 13 yards.
And much like with the Denver Broncos, the 49er receivers are some of the best blockers in the league down the field. But this is set up by Kevin Gogan at right guard, getting a nice block, as did Derek Deese at right tackle, working on Fontenot. That opened things wide open. And, you know, Garrison Hurst got back there about 10 yards deep before he saw somebody else in another jersey.
Twin receivers to the right. The handoff to Hurst, who comes over left guard. And picks up enough to get inside the 30 to the 28. Jamie Brown at that left tackle spot, number 72. Dave Fiore out with an injury, but surprisingly, they think he might be back.
He was out running around doing pass sets and whatnot. They're looking at the middle of November, but Jamie Brown was acquired from Denver for a 2nd-round draft choice and got off to a very bad start, you know, whether by injury or attitude or whatever. The only reason he's in here is because they really need an offensive tackle. I don't know if he's the athlete they need, but I think in about another 2 weeks, you're going to see Kirk Strafford back on this offensive line for the 49ers.
Here's a pass into the flat. Terrell Owens, one-on-one, tries to shake the tackle and gets to the 21-yard line. Tyrone Poole, number 38.
You don't think Jacksonville was thinking about Denver today at all, do you?
Nah. Here's Hurst. Breaks a tackle. Morrison finally has him. Blackman came up, number 25, and had a clean shot at Garrison Hurst, but he slipped right through his arms.
So often when you talk about running backs, you talk about their speed and their shiftiness and their moves. Watch nice blocking on the right side as Deese blocks down. Edwards gets a lead block, but look at the strength of the legs of Garrison Hurst. That's what keeps them up. It's not the speed, it's not the shiftiness. It's those legs are so strong and powerful, you can't get in there with an arm tackle.
55 yards for the day. Here's Hurst, dances to his left and picks up a 1st and goal. San Francisco. Andre Royal, number 56, made the tackle. But the 49ers trying to climb out of this deep hole. They found themselves down 21-0. Now they trail by 18. Steve Mariucci.
Well, it's not exactly a stealth drive either for Steve Mariucci. This is pure, we're going to smack you in the face. We're going to use our big guys inside, and we're going to run the ball with Garrison Hurst and try to settle down all the other aspects, the pass protection, the miscommunication with the receivers, the jamming of the receivers.
Rice is left. Young punch right, goes right into the end zone. Incomplete. J.J. Stokes covered by Jeff Burris.
You don't think Steve Young has worked with this group of receivers much, do you, and doesn't know his guys just physically perfectly? Now, as you watch Stokes make this route, little quick, little pump, working against Burris. The ball's in the air now. Steve Young has already said, here comes the ball. You better get around him to catch it. Is that ball placement? Not bad defense by Burris. J.J. Stokes should have had that one. That was perfectly placed by Steve Young.
2nd and goal. Now Jerry Rice starts in motion. Young fires for Rice, cuts inside, breaks 1 tackle, and is down at the 5. Andre Royal made the initial contact, and Rice managed to pick up 3 yards after that stop. Robert Blackman completed it.
Yeah, but Vern, if you're the Indianapolis defense, you're tickled to death that Jerry Rice is running around in front of you and not running through your defense or around your defense. You would much rather have him doing this and then trying to make something happen than just carving through a defense, running around free where Steve Young can find him.
In week 3, Rice and Young collaborated for a touchdown. They've been blank since. The next one will tie Marino and Clayton. This one's going the other direction. It's picked off. And here goes Jay Burris. A flag is down in the end zone. Burris being chased by Young, who catches him and hauls him out of bounds. There is a flag a yard deep. So hold the celebration.
Vern, this could go either way. There was a lot of pushing and shoving going on from both guys in that end zone, but it's going to go against the Colts, I think.
Holding.
The title on that picture, Jim Mora, would be "I beg to differ."
Words I did not use on network television.
But Jim Mora's defense is playing physical. They're playing in your face all over these 49er receivers. Earlier we saw Poole get away with a little bit of a tug on Jerry Rice, and now they're going to be flagged for this pass interference in the end zone.
That's Dick Creed, the field judge, who is catching the words. Here's Walt Coleman.
Holding on the defense, number 20. Half the distance, automatic first down.
Jim Mora all the way down to the 20-yard line. Keep an eye on Jeff Burris, working on Terrell Owens. Owens initiates the contact. No, sorry. Sorry. What is Jeff Burris supposed to do? Back up for as long as Terrell Owens wants to back up? Jim Mora is absolutely correct. That was not pass interference. I don't care any way you color it. And that should have gone back the other way for Jeff Burris and the Colts.
Now the holding call on Burris gives San Francisco a 1st and goal. Backs in the eye. Garrison Hurst hit and dropped. He didn't gain an inch. Andre Royal and Robert Blackman, numbers 56 and 25. Another look at Owens and Burris.
Well, you got to really say, when you're talking about pass interference and in defense of these defensive backs, you know, how much of that contact is initiated by the offensive player, not the defensive player? That is a bad call and should not have been made.
2 minutes to go, first half. (21-3), but the 49ers threatening. And coming up on the NASDAQ halftime report, we'll go back to New York. Jim, Marcus, Brent, and Coach Seifert. Scores and highlights of all the games around the league. Rusty Tillman, defensive coordinator of the Indianapolis Colts, no doubt in disagreement with that last call.
Right there, yeah, it was a bad call, but you got to put that behind you. You got to say, no, it doesn't matter. This is the play you attack.
Rice in motion. Young pulls up, pumps, throws it deep in the end zone. Caught it, but out of bounds. And there's a conference.
There's going to be a conference.
Yeah, they may rule that he would have come down. That's the nature of the debate. Had he not been pushed, he might have come down inbounds.
I like the consultation idea sometimes, but too much of this just sends a message that we're hesitant and we're not really sure.
Now Walt Coleman joins the debate.
Well, as you take a look at what's going on that play, it was a situation where, you know, J.J. Stokes is working against a 5'8" cornerback. Steve Young sees the defender in front of him. He's going to put him where his 6'4" receiver can get it. Does he come down in bounds if he's not pushed? I'm not even sure if it really would have mattered if he hadn't been pushed. His momentum was going out of bounds. He had the first, but he never would have gotten the second.
Now Jerry Rice is urging the crowd to make some noise while this confrontation continues. The initial call was no catch, that he was out of bounds. Here's Walt Coleman.
We've ruled it was an overt act by the defender, forcing the receiver out of bounds. Touchdown.
Oh, boy. Oh.
Well, I can hear the theme of Jim Mora's halftime talk to these Indianapolis Colts. Guys, you got off to a good start. Now they're trying to give it to them. Don't let them do it. Don't make the mistakes. I think that's two bad calls back to back, enabling the 49ers to score that touchdown.
Stokes gets credit for the touchdown. Steve Young has now thrown 16 touchdown passes less than halfway through the season. Richie's extra point is up and good. Mariucci is happy. Not the same scene on the Colts sideline. J.J. Stokes on the sideline. It was Stokes who's given credit for the touchdown catch.
And what you have to see is an overt act by the defender is if he hadn't have pushed him, he'd have come down. He catches it. The contact. I still don't think that he'd have come down with both feet in if he's not pushed right there. I mean, whether if Poole's the one that gets the shot in there that makes the difference, or if Monty Montgomery's shot makes the difference, I think he gets one leg in and never gets a chance to get the other one down.
Now Stokes gets the touchdown grab, and the 49ers shave another 7 off the margin. They now trail by 11. At one point it was 21.
They talk about cornerbacks and quarterbacks having to have amnesia when bad things happen. If you're an Indianapolis Colt right now, you got to forget about the last 2 plays.
Nice kick. Really nice kick. That one is 8 yards back. It'll come out to the 20-yard line. Keith Elias makes the grab. Well, the 49ers moved into position, and it appeared the Colts had made the plays.
And this was a big play by Jeff Burris working against Terrell Owens. They're calling that hand on the left-hand side of Terrell Owens as holding against Burris, calling back the interception, and an overt act by the defender. Does he come down without the push? It don't matter, but I don't think so.
Manning out of the shotgun. Comes in the right behind Harrison, the intended receiver, who's got 2 touchdown catches today. NASDAQ halftime report coming up with Jim, Marcus, Brent, and George. Scores and highlights coming up.
Hey, I can't wait to hear George's and Brent's takes on exactly what we've seen going on here in this football game and how a team like San Francisco can come out and really played and act the way they have. People thought 2 weeks ago against Buffalo was a fluke. This might show it wasn't.
2nd and 10. Harrison starts in motion. Manning flips it out incomplete. Intended for Torrance Small, number 87. But the 49ers had pressure on Manning that time.
And that's what sets that up for Peyton Manning. He's looking down the field. He's got Harrison open, and he had Pathan open. But the pressure in his face made him throw the ball just into the let's get it away from him.
Think back to the opening moments of the game, and the Colts had to use 2 timeouts. So they burned too early. They have only 1. And if you're thinking 49ers, they have all 3 left. If they get a stop here, they'll have Steve Young and Jerry Rice and a lot of time. Manning pressured. Chris Dolman was there. Flag is thrown. Walt Coleman. Intentional grounding. Chris Dolman, whose mother and father are making their first trip ever to California to see him play today.
Intentional grounding. Number 18 of the offense. Spot foul. Loss of down. 4th down.
Look at the pressure from Chris Dolman. And that ball is so far removed from Marshall Faulk, the halfback, who's over on the other side of the offensive tackle, that Walt Coleman, our referee, just doesn't buy the fact that he can qualify as being in the general vicinity. The great pressure by Chris Dolman.
Gardocki waits for the snap from Banta. Return is on. Here's Gardocki's punt. Nice and high. McQuarters waits for it and grabs it at the 40. Back to the 50. Watch out. 42-yard line. So the 49ers, after that 20-yard return, come back on the field with 1:28 to go in the half and 3 timeouts remaining. 21-10, 1:28 to go before the break. And here come the 49ers again.
Speaking of doctors, with 3 timeouts, this can get them awfully healthy getting points right here. And they're thinking touchdown.
Backs are split behind Steve Young. Play fake. He goes right, has a man wide open as Burris had played off by 4 or 5 yards off J.J. Stokes. Gain of 12.
You know, as a football fan, there's one thing I hate to see at the end of the half or the end of a game. Look at that pad. Look how I mean, that looks like the old prevent. You know, obviously there's like a cover 3 going on there. He's a little soft on the corner, but don't be soft with 1 minute and 24 seconds against this kind of an offense. If Steve Young thinks you're playing soft, he will throw one right into the middle of your heart.
Hurst is the man split top of your screen. Stokes is the man in motion out of the backfield. Young under some pressure, puts it up. Now he'll scramble. And he is down at the 21-yard line. That might be enough for a fresh series of downs as Tim Houck makes the tackle. Timeout. San Francisco. Again, they had all 3, so they use one here. And that stops the clock with 68 seconds to go before the break. 49ers have 2 timeouts remaining and a 1st down and 10, trailing by 11. And momentum.
Exactly. And what this 49er offense wants to do right now with this defense, as they're sensing a little hesitation on the defense's part to create more confusion. There's no offense better in the league with crossing receivers and freeing up one guy wide open.
Jerry Rice, bottom of the screen to the left. Young with a quick kickoff. Comes into the flat, and it's picked off by Levy, who is then hit immediately, and the clock will continue to run. Monty Montgomery, who is the guy who was called for the overt act on J.J. Stokes, makes the tackle there. The overt act being pushing him out of bounds before he made the grab.
Sounds like something you go before a judge.
I know it. I hope that's not a felony. 4 wide receivers now. Stokes top of the screen. 2nd and 9. Flag. Illegal procedure.
Clock,
San Francisco.
The clock ran out on Steve Young.
Ball start. 72 of the offense. 5 yards. Still 2nd down.
Jamie Brown.
Steve Mariucci watches his left tackle, Jamie Brown, make a critical mistake. He had a rough game 2 weeks ago against Buffalo and was part of the problem with the mistakes and the false starts and whatnot. And I'll mention again the fact that I think Kirk Scrafford's going to be playing an offensive line for the 49ers here in a couple weeks because he's a veteran, because he doesn't make those kind of mistakes.
Here's Coleman.
10 seconds.
We'll reset the clock to 26 seconds, please. We'll run 10 seconds due to the false start with the clock running. Reset the clock to 26 seconds.
Inside the 2-minute warning. So they will allow 10 seconds to unravel and reset it at 26.
And you see the real impact of a dumb mistake. That is not a missed assignment. That is not a mental mistake.
2nd and 14. Young, right side, caught by Stokes. Open field, Burris drags him down at the 15. And time is called by the 49ers. They had 2 left. Now it's down to 1.
30-second timeout.
A 30-second timeout.
And one thing, it's a missing ingredient in this 49er offense, and we've seen a couple of downs here of 4 wide receivers. It pains me to say this, but this team misses a Brent Jones. Steve Young misses a Brent Jones, somebody to threaten the middle of the field, somebody that really has always been a key in this offense is the tight end. We don't see him throw to the tight end.
Why would it pain you to say that?
Because he'd enjoy it so much.
Brent's coming up at halftime. I enjoyed the chat with Steve Young and Brent Jones. Did you see him playing catch in the?
It was a veritable love fest.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
Did you notice how Steve Young was throwing the ball right-handed?
Yeah.
I talked to him about that earlier. He goes, "Hey man, it's for TV." Glad you noticed.
As a basketball player in the NBA once said, "Hey man, I've been amphibious all my life." 3rd down. Back split. Here's Young, tipped into the end zone. Flag is thrown. The ball picked off by Blackman, who slides down. So a lot of things going on. Andre Royal tipped the ball.
There was an awful lot of contact down the field from the Indianapolis defense. Holding Colts. And the hold must come before the ball is tipped, because when the ball's tipped, so all bets are off.
Holding, number 34 of the defense, 5 yards, automatic first down.
Now, Monty Montgomery is having an adventurous first half.
There's Monty Montgomery working right there against Terrell Owens. That's just sort of a quick wrap. That is not, that's not even impeding. I mean, that is not pass interference. That is interpreting things way too tight.
Second defensive holding call in the last 5 minutes.
You're going to be hesitant to make a mistake. You got to remind them it can happen both ways.
First and goal. Young lets it go as he is hit, and Montgomery is back there defensively to knock it away. Tony McCoy was the man who put the pressure, and now Derek Deese limping as he walks away from the collision.
But Tony McCoy just broke through clean and quick and right in Steve Young's face, and there's something that this 49er team cannot afford to have happen. See 71 Ruman coming into the game, the youngster for Derek Deese. Deese lined up at that right tackle, but watch Tony McCoy working against Kevin Gogan. He beats Gogan cleanly inside, and it's McCoy's legs that whip around and hit Derek Deese.
Second down and goal, 7 seconds to go in the half. Rice to the left. Young looks right in the end zone. Caught. Terrell Owens. Burris beaten on the play. Second touchdown throw for Steve Young here in the first half. He's got 17 for the season.
Niners have been able to take advantage of every mistake that's been called against the Colts defense.
Wade Ritchie with the extra point. Terrell Owens gets his third touchdown grab of the season.
We saw this matchup earlier between Burris and Owens. Just a good, quick move driving into the receiver. I tell you, I love that by Terrell Owens. Drove right into the cornerback, made Burris hesitate and stop, and cut quickly away and got the ball from Steve Young.
42 yards, 6 plays. And congratulations. Colts jumped out to a 21-0 lead. They scored on their first 3 possessions of the game. The 49ers have now scored on 3 in a row and have cut the margin to 21-17 with 3 seconds to go before the break.
Now, whether you like the penalty calls or not that have been called against the Colts here down in the 49er red zone area, the bottom line really is the mistakes early were made by the 49ers. The mistakes now for the last 3 or 4 minutes on the clock have been made by the Indianapolis Colts.
Lamont Warren waits for the kickoff. We've got 3 seconds to go before the break. 21-17 Indianapolis. They come in 1-5, and Jim Mora's team jumped out to that 21-zip lead. They've seen all but 4 points evaporate.
Jim Mora will be chewing some zebra on the way
in. Short kick, Morrison down at the 32. But he is down as time expires. That's the end of the first half. Score, Indianapolis 21, the 49ers 17. There's a little zebra for dinner. Coming up on the NASDAQ halftime report, Jim Nance, Marcus Allen, Brent Jones, George Seifert. I'll get you caught up on all the latest NFL news. Plus, that's all coming up after Jim Mora has dessert. Halftime at 3Com Park in San Francisco. We get set for the start of the third quarter, 21-17. When we last chatted with you, Jim Mora had decided to have a little zebra for lunch, and that conversation continued for a while. And just as he was about to leave for the dressing room, one last word. And let's go down to our colleague Michelle Tapoya.
All right, Vern. Well, I spoke to Jim Mora as he came out of the locker room. Needless to say, extremely irate. He told me that the defensive holding call that negated that interception late in the second quarter, after that happened, one of the officials came up to him and actually said, and I'm quoting Jim Mora, if anything, that was offensive holding. Again, this is what Jim Mora claimed one of the officials said to him, and Mora added, we're getting blanked by the officials, and I'll let you two fill in the blank.
If you don't mind, discretion will rule up here in the booth, and we'll just let your imagination roam. What do you think?
Well, you just can't dwell on it. I didn't agree with the calls, but the Colts are in a wonderful position. They've got San Francisco, who is playing very arrogant and kind of wishy-washy most of the first half. The last thing you want to do is right now still be saying, well, they didn't give us the breaks. They're for the other guys. Don't do that. Jim Mora, I don't think, will let his team dwell on that. Come out and execute offensively on this drive, and it makes a lot of things better that you didn't think went right in the first half.
And the Colts will get the ball to open the third quarter. Lamont Warren is deep. Here's the kick by Ritchie, and it'll be Keith Elias who grabs it 5 yards, Dak. And the kickoffs have been lengthy for San Francisco. Now let's take a look at 3 of the controversial plays, Randy, in that first half. This is the holding call.
And I thought, like the official allegedly told Jim Mora, it could have gone either way on that holding call. Here's the one where they're calling the defender pushing out J.J. Stokes. Let's see, that's 2 out of 2 I don't agree with. That is not holding. That is not a real blatant overt act. And I think Jim Mora's got every reason to be upset, but he can't afford to let his team still be upset.
First down from the 20, the toss to Falk. He's got Craig Hayward in front as they head left, and Falk picks up a couple. Statistically in the first half, it broke down thusly. 21-17. Look at the 49er first downs. They had the edge in almost every category save penalties, but the time of possession overwhelming.
The big one is right there is those passing yards. 130 yards for Steve Young. He was being sacked and he wasn't getting much until they put a couple of those drives together. But the key really was what Garrison Hurst was able to do running the ball on the 49er side. It was a little bit more key than even what Marshall Faulk's rushing was doing for the Colts. Hurst running set up the 49er passing game.
Falk stays on the sideline after that first down run, and Lamont Warren is, oh boy, they have to use a timeout.
Well, the first thing I'd do if I was Peyton Manning is look around my huddle and say, exactly why isn't Marshall Faulk in this huddle with me?
See the first half possessions for the Colts. Marshall Faulk had that 65-yard run to begin the day. Since then, 27 yards from the backfield. Backs are split on second down, and Manning again with good protection. Little floater across the middle. Lamont Warren makes the catch and gets enough for a first down as a 12-yard gain. Lee Woodall, number 54, makes the tackle.
You know, a guy we haven't mentioned much of right now, Bryant Young at the defensive tackle, working against Tony Mandarich, playing right guard for the Colts. Bryant Young, usually just a little Tasmanian devil, just throwing fits and going crazy, is being neutralized right now by Tony Mandarich, a guy that's been through a few trials and tribulations in his career as a former #1 pick.
First and 10, Indianapolis. Manning hands it off, the sweep to the right. Junior Bryant gets cut down as he tries to get the Falk, and Tim McDonald comes up to make the tackle. Marshall Faulk, who's going back to San Diego next week. His jersey is being retired at San Diego State, and during the bye week he's going to go back down and be honored at his alma mater.
I thought too in the conversation yesterday, as you see, he's approaching 100 yards. How tight and how you know, sort of a sounding board he uses Tony Gwynn of the Padres playing in the World Series. How he goes to him with, you know, how do you handle the press? How do you handle success? Found that relationship to be pretty interesting.
Second and 8, Manning out of the shotgun. 4-man rush, and the 49ers do not get there. There's Marshall Faulk at the 40-yard line. That's going to be 3-4 yards short of the first down. Well, this is an Indianapolis team that last year gave up 62 sacks. And so far, only 11 for Peyton Manning, and none today. None in the last 2.5 games now.
And what they're not asking the offensive line to do is block for an extended period of time. Most of the time, there's like 3 to 5 step drops. But Peyton Manning and his offense have to go down the field, have to continue to be aggressive and attacking, specifically Antonio Langham at the bottom of your screen.
That's where Harrison pitches his 10th. 3rd down. That pass incomplete. That was catchable. Jerome Pathan, the rookie from the University of Washington, dropped it. And the 49ers will get it back.
You got to wonder, at a catch like that, 2 things. 1, when exactly did he see it? And 2, was that falling backwards and kind of going towards the seat of his pants, just a rough position for him to get a proper handle on that ball.
Gardocki to punt for the Colts on 4th down. R.W. McQuarters, the rookie from Oklahoma State, grabs it at the 12. Good downfield coverage, but they miss him. There's another miss. There's a 3rd miss, and it was tripping.
That was absolutely tripping. That's one they missed there. That was big time tripping.
Ken Dilger got an ankle out, and in the process, he got a piece of R.W. McQuarters. Near the airport, 3Com Park, and the 49ers' Steve Young brings his team up. They trail by 4. Young hands it off to Garrison Hurst, goes right, stacked up after a gain of 1. Steve Young trying to become today the first quarterback in the history of the NFL to throw for more than 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in 6 consecutive games. Well, he's got a little work to do here in the second half. He's got 2 touchdowns, so he's 67% of the way there. But he has only 140 yards at the halftime.
He had an interesting reply. Brent Jones in the pregame asked him about that record. What does that mean to you? And Steve's reply was basically, well, I guess that means we had another good game. But outside of that, I don't know if it has any meaning.
Well, he's got a chance to get a few here, but he throws it closer to Ty Detmer than he did to J.J. Stokes. So that one is incomplete, and Young is now 17 of 28.
See, he's talking to J.J. Stokes, as Robert Blackman was the nearest athlete to that ball right there, because as he threw that, he expected J.J. Stokes to take the out, and he told him so as soon as he came back to the huddle. And Steve, having by his standard 17 of 28, 140 at this point, it's not bad, but it's not too high above a watermark on mediocre.
4 wide receiver set now. Rice, bottom of the screen. And Young gets good protection, but then the coverage, that's a coverage sack. Boy, he couldn't find anybody breaking free, and is sacked for the 5th time today.
Monty Montgomery, you're going to see it in the slot right here, and watch these 2 guys and the job that's done down the field. Look at that. Where are you going to go? You go there, nope, there, nope, there, nope, there. Can't see that guy. He's scrambling and trying not to get hit. Nice job.
And on 4th down, the Colts will get it back. Here's the punt from Roby.
Here we go.
Tyrone Poole grabs it at the 31 and comes right. And is down at the 39-yard line. A 54-yard punt and 8 on the return. And Mark Edwards, who bears more than a remarkable resemblance to his coach, Tom Rathman, makes the grab. Colts continue to lead by 4, 3rd quarter. 49er defense on the field. Marquez Pope is out there at right corner replacing Darnell Walker. Pope injured much of this year, healthy now, able to go, but they thought they'd only use him as a nickelback today.
But he's going to have to play, because not only is Walker hampered, McQuarters is also down.
So Pope on the field lays way back of the receiver, Marvin Harrison. 1st down and 10. Manning, right side, caught by Pathan, slips the tackle. It's a foot race. Here goes Jerome Pathan. No flags. Touchdown. Antonio Langham missed the tackle.
If you feel or see a weakness in personnel, take advantage of it. A big pad by Antonio Langham. Harrison's short route just sloughs Langham off, and I'll tell you what, Pathan is not going to be caught. Harrison is not going to be caught. Any of these receivers with an opening are not going to be caught. Harrison out of Syracuse can flat fly when he gets open field.
88 rather than 86. Harrison in for his 3rd touchdown, and the Colts lead at 28-17. R.W. McQuarters among the injured players, and Antonio Langham is in some agony on the bench after he missed the tackle, had trouble getting up, had to be assisted to the sideline. And Harrison's touchdown from 61 yards out, his 3rd catch for a touchdown today. That's the 2nd time in his career, 3 touchdowns. Here's Levy a yard back as McQuarters not back to return the kick, and Levy gets it out to the 21-yard line. Let's look again at Marvin Harrison's 61-yard grab.
It's all set up by a big pad by Langham in the defense, a quick route, and look at the slough right there by Harrison. Just throws Langham's arm off, and now it's just see you later, bye. You're just not flat going to have any chance of stopping that receiver. But get used to what you're looking at here, folks. You're going to see this for the rest of this game out of the Colts and their receivers and their quarterback. The Niners are hurt in the defensive backfield, and the Colts are going to try to make them pay.
First down from the 21, play fake. Young will hang on to it and run out of bounds after a 4-yard pickup to the 24.5-yard line. Bernard Whittington makes the stop. Marvin Harrison, 3 touchdown catches.
And you know what Marvin Harrison sitting on the sideline has to really like is the job he's seen out of the defense for the Indianapolis Colts. In the day he's having 5 of 93 for 3 touchdowns, but he's watching the receivers on the other side being physically challenged, being covered down the field, making Steve Young scramble and run out of bounds. Jim Mora and Rusty Tillman, his defensive coordinator, have done a nice job game planning and getting this defense ready.
2nd down. Young pumps, fires for his tight end Irv Smith. That's good enough for a first down after the 35. Well, the last time the Colts won here, they were playing in Baltimore. The head coach was a guy named Shula. The quarterback was a guy named Morrill. Matty, John Mackey, and look who was playing for the 49ers. Howard Mudd.
Howard Mudd, now the offensive line coach of the Indianapolis Colts. Jimmy Johnson, one of the greatest football players I was ever associated with. A cornerback, went into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Just a class act.
Here's Young, got a man open. Terrell Owens got free. Jason Belzer banged him out of bounds, but it's a gain of 18.
Up to this point, the Colt defense has been able to be aggressive and knock off the timing. You saw right in there, Burris did not stop Terrell Owens as he got off the line of scrimmage, and that was just pure timing. Steve Young hits the 5th step, ball's coming out, receivers turning, textbook completion.
Owens now with 4 grabs for 49 yards and a touchdown. Back split on 1st and 10.
Little confusion.
Yep. Now change. Clock winding down, and here's Young. No place to go. So he throws it away in the face of increasing pressure.
Well, they're going to have to call Steve Young lumpy after this game for the beating and the hits that this Colts defense is putting on him. Giving them a look they don't expect. A little confusion in formation. Steve Young's got an audible. Steve Young doesn't have a receiver. And the Colts defense put another couple of hits on him. Steve Mariucci does not want to see Steve Young hold that ball that long. He knows his quarterback is going to get hit. The secret to this offense, get it out quick.
2nd and 10. Play fake. Young comes left. Irv Smith. He was open, and it's overthrown. And a flag is thrown from 25 yards downfield.
And almost 25 seconds late. That flag was not thrown until the offensive player complained.
Holding Colts.
Holding. Defense number 57. 5 yards. Automatic first down.
That is Burt Berry.
Now inside, they're taking a zone blitz approach. But right what happens here, watch here, and watch how the defenders drop and get into different areas. You've got blitzes inside. You've got a defensive lineman suddenly playing linebacker. And that's actually a perfect call by the official. The flag came way too late for credibility's sake, but the call was good.
1st and 10 after the 5-yard penalty. Chad Fan, number 86, in motion. And off to Hurst. They try and sweep right. Good pursuit defensively and a fumble. A scramble for the ball, and the Colts have recovered.
Another flag down. Kevin Gogan is going to be flagged for unsportsmanlike conduct for going after one of the Colts defenders on the sideline. This is adding insult to stupidity for the 49ers. For a team and an organization that's supposed to have so much poise and so much class and not be undisciplined, the key errors in this game have been from being very undisciplined. Not a good move by Kevin Gogan, and Steve Mariucci has to let his big guard know exactly what about it.
So after the turnover,
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness on the offensive team after the interception and after the play is over. 15 yards and a first down for Indianapolis.
Garrison Hurst just has his ball knocked out. Watch what happens right here. He tries to spin away. When he spins away, he spins right into Jeff Burris. The cornerback comes in and around and knocks the ball out. And it's recovered right there by the Indianapolis Colts, and getting a good job on that ball and recovering it for the Colts was Kendall Shello, number 97.
and so with 8:32 to go, third quarter, Colts at the 42. Manning crossing route. Here comes the tight end, Ken Dilger, who was split way wide right.
Jim Mora's staff right now knows he's got a weakness. Knows the Niners are down on defensive backs. They're going to start splitting people. They're going to start changing formation. There is the tight end, Ken Dilger, matching up against R.W. McQuarters, who's been slowed by a little bit of a ding and an injury. There's no way in the world a tight end should be able to do that to a cornerback.
1st and 10, Indianapolis. Handoff, Marshall Faulk. He's buried.
Defensive backs aren't real healthy. There's nothing wrong with Lee Woodall. Comes completely unblocked from that side of the defense. Marshall Faulk's going to go back and have a little bit of a discussion with his guys up front.
Lance Schulters comes in defensively.
Peyton Manning is very steady. He's played steady and he's played smart. He's playing right now like a veteran on the road as an underdog.
Manning back. Lamont Warren makes the grab, and that's a gain to the 21-yard line. Tim McDonald and Lee Woodall collaborate for it. Well, Peyton Manning with 14 interceptions this season, but today, zip and 3 touchdowns.
Jeff George and Johnny Unitas, the other 2 Colt quarterbacks he shares that record with, and a day like this just tells you why this young man was drafted #1, because of that maturity by Bill Polian in this organization, and why Ryan Leaf and his act went #2 to San Diego.
34. Stunts defensively by the 49ers. They go in the corner for Torrance Small, and he can't quite hang on. And that will bring up 4th down.
Well, that's one thing about watching this young quarterback. If there's a pass or a situation you haven't seen him in yet, or you haven't seen him make a certain pass, stick around. Here is a perfectly touched arced ball over Merton Hanks, the safety, into his receiver, Torrance Small, just a little bit too long.
Mike, Randy, Mike Vanderjagt, 14 of 15 this season, made his first 8, missed 1 from 40, has made his last 6. This one is perfect. So the 28-year-old rookie who spent his last 2 seasons in Toronto, where his team won the Canadian Football League Grey Cup, helps extend the Colt lead to 14.
Back in San Francisco, Colts lead 31-17, and the Niners are without Antonio Langham now. The medical staff had been tending to his left ankle. It is sprained. They thought he might be able to return, but as you see, he's on crutches, wrapped up. He's in pain, and he's done, guys.
All right, Michelle, Chuck Levy is one of 2 men deep, and he takes the Gardocki kickoff at the 4-yard line. Here is Levy, cut down as he gets to the 23. Nice open field tackle by Keith Elias, number 23. Young and the 49ers fought back It was 21-17 at the half, but Manning and the Colts have extended the lead back to 14 points now, midway through the third quarter.
He's off. We're going this way. Go,
Chad Fan, number 86, in motion. Here's Young. Comes into the left side, and the catch made at the 34-yard line. A gain of 12. J.J. Stokes made the grab.
Here's a drive for the 49ers. From their standpoint, you've got to take a deep breath and just go about your business. Steve Mariucci's offense was hit with a bad penalty after that last turnover. Basically set Peyton Manning's group up for that last field goal. The offense now has to just be methodical and execute. Keep the score and the situation out of your brain. Just be methodical and execute.
Backs are split. First down and 10. Right side, Garrison Hurst slips a tackle, dances up the sideline and out of bounds at the 37-yard line.
And really part of that whole just be quiet, execute is that last mistake that Kevin Gogan made, going after somebody from the Indianapolis Colts defense. At the beginning of this drive, he's sort of pointing fingers and yapping over there across the line, and you just can't have that at this point. This situation is not desperate for the San Francisco 49ers at 31-17 with this kind of an offense. Continued stupid play and bad mistakes will make this a very desperate situation.
2nd and 7. Young, good protection, finds Hurst, who is wrapped up by Anthony Jordan. Getting his first start today, the rookie from Vanderbilt, a 5th-round pick. And that'll bring up 3rd down.
Check this out, Vern. Just talking about Gogan and who will they take it out on. Watch big Kevin Gogan, 66, the right guard. Give his center, Chris Dahlman, a little help. Hi-ya. That takes care of one nose guard. The play didn't gain much, but I think Mr. Gogan made his point. And that's the proper way to make your point if you're Kevin Gogan. Just the wee little fella from Washington.
Yes, indeed. 3rd and 7. Starts by the Colt defense. Good protection. Young. Nobody open, so he'll scramble. He's got the first down, and he slides down at the 46-yard line. A pickup of 16. Burton Berry finally got up to him.
What Steve Young sees is as this play unfolds, watch this whole part of the field not have Indianapolis Colts in it. He's getting wonderful protection. You've got man coverage dropping off, and look at that. Look at this. All that football field, and that's why he did what he did. Great read by Steve Young, taking advantage of the defense that was being well executed by the Colts.
4 wide receivers set on first down. Draw play. Chuck Levy cut down by Tim Hawk as he gets to the 46-yard line. Tim Hawk graduated from the high school with the greatest name, I think, in the NFL. Sweetgrass County High School in Big Timber, Montana. Just sounds nice. And here he is still playing. 2nd down.
Saturday night, too nice of a place to have a football program.
It's not a large one.
But in the winter in Montana, it's not that nice.
Not a large one. 2nd and 9. Oh, nice pattern. Terrell Owens, fumble! Holy cow, Jason Belzer has it for the Colts. 2nd fumble lost in the last 2 possessions.
And Jim Moore has just watched Terrell Owens and the 49ers make another one of those stupid mistakes. They were being efficient. Steve Mariucci's offense was being patient. They had taken advantage of a defense with a long scramble. They got a completion with a nice throw there. Monty Montgomery, 34, comes in, strips Terrell Owens. We just got another spike on the dumb-o-meter.
Things getting loaded.
It's being used way too often by the 49ers for Mariucci's sake.
2nd fumble lost in this half. Terrell Owens on the sidelines as the Colts regain the football, and they have a 14-point lead. 3:25 to go, 3rd quarter. Manning hands it off to Falk. Finds a couple at right guard after the 25.
And you also see Indianapolis, after another turnover with a 14-point lead and 3 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter, come out in an I formation with a lead back, Hayward, in the fullback position, saying, well, maybe now is the time to try to establish this running game and get things going. Let Marshall Faulk control this game.
2nd down and 8. 31-17. If you have not been with us We'll tell you the Colts jumped out to a 21-0 lead. It was 21-17 at the half. They're up by 14 now. Manning, nice pass out of the backfield to Marshall Faulk out to the 36-yard line. That will be enough to move the chain again. 1st and 10, Indianapolis, with 2:05 to go in the quarter. Manning, deep left side, overthrows Harrison, who was being covered by McQuarters and Marquez Pope. So Langham on the sideline, Darnell Walker on the sideline, and Peyton Manning said he thought they could go with the corners anyway.
Well, yeah, and Marquez Pope, a guy that, you know, I think the 49ers wanted to get maybe a dozen plays out of today, maybe 15 plays. Suddenly now he's going to look at playing about a quarter and a half at the end of this ball game against Peyton Manning and a Colt team that is going to be firing the thing down the field.
2nd and 10. Faulk left. Faulk cuts it up to the 45-yard line. That appears to be just short of a first down. R.W. McQuarters made the tackle.
Yeah, one thing I'm very impressed with right now from Jim Mora's offense is the fact that against a defense like San Francisco, Mora's offense has to know that, look, we get a lot of blitzes, but so many of these blitzes we're going to see are specifically to keep Faulk from being able to run the ball. He's got 102 yards. He's got a touchdown on only 11 carries, and they're guessing right and dealing with the blitz when they get it.
3rd and 1. Double tight end set. They hand it off in the middle. And from the spot, you'd think that might be a fresh set of downs.
Well, Bryant Young just blew through the line of scrimmage from the left defensive tackle position. But by blowing out of there, his body left the soft spot that the back was able to go in, I think, to get this first down. Watch Bryant Young come through and watch where exactly he and Mandarich leave. The back comes right in there. Mandarich got away with a hold, though, because he had his arms around his waist. That was an offensive holding against Bryant Young, who I don't know if he is quick or just has an incredible amount of fast twitch muscle fiber. I mean, he gets off the ball. He's right up there with John Randall when he's inside a defensive tackle, as far as I'm concerned.
And that is enough for a first down. Bryant Young notwithstanding.
Yeah.
1st and 10.
But you pay for that quickness sometimes.
Yep.
If you're that quick and you get held and it's not called, you leave a hole that the offense is able to take advantage of and get a first down through.
1st and 10, Colts at their own 46. Final minute, 3rd quarter. They've outscored the 49ers 10-zip in this quarter. Manning, quick setup, out into the flat right. Marvin Harrison, who has 3 touchdowns today, has another reception across the 50 and into 49er territory.
You know, Peyton Manning had a good look here from the 49er defense. Pretend you're a quarterback and you want to do something conservative. You're going to throw it here with the press, or you're going to throw it here with the gap. Peyton Manning takes the easy reception. Why go to the trouble up high when you get that much pad, that much room for your receiver? That's a gimme completion on first down. Good decision making.
Harrison and Faulk, 237 yards. That follows the agenda for the season. Here's Faulk caught behind the line. Jeff Posey, number 96, in at defensive end, made the tackle. Posey, a first-year man from Southern Mississippi. And that should be the final play of a surprising ball game. The Colts, behind Peyton Manning, Marshall Faulk, and Marvin Harrison, jumped out to a 21-0 lead. They were up 21-17 at the half, and after 3, they lead at 31-17. We'll return to 3Com Park right after this message and a word from your local station. Midfield out of the shotgun, 3rd and 6. Colts with a 14-point lead as we start the 4th quarter. Blitz coming. Manning goes left. Torrance Small hit by R.W. McQuarters and tackled short of the first down. So Indianapolis will have to punt.
Nice job by John Marshall, the defensive coordinator of the 49ers, giving this young quarterback. He's showing blitz here, and the free man's going to be Dolman at defensive end. The offensive line has to seal down, blocking inside out. That frees Dolman. And Peyton Manning's got nowhere to go. He's trying to throw over Dolman at covered receivers.
fourth punt of the afternoon for Gardocki, and R.W. McQuarters is at the 10-yard line. Nice and high. McQuarters will let it go, and it takes an Indianapolis roll. That will be down inside the 10 at the 7 or 8 yard line. See where they spot it finally. Make it the 9 where it was first touched.
Well, I really could not tell you exactly what Posey 96 is doing falling on that ball. The Colts touched it. You don't have to risk making another dumb mistake.
Just over 14 minutes remaining, 31-17. A lot of time remaining, but I'm really struck by how the Colts have held their poise.
An awful lot of poise. You know, for a team that's been getting blown out and abused in the second and third quarters of games, they had every opportunity when they got those bad penalties called against them at the end of the first half in the second quarter there to fold and do something dumb. They've played great in the second and third quarter, and that's why they're ahead right now.
Here's Young on first down. Again, good coverage, but he does find a receiver open at the 20-yard line. Jerry Rice makes the grab, and that should be enough to move the chains again. That's a gain of 12.
Well, now you have good pass protection, and you give Steve Young the chance to sit back there and bounce a couple of times. He was going to find the open wide receiver. You see Jerry Rice in that zone defense got behind a linebacker, felt I don't belong behind this linebacker, and slid back over where Steve Young could get him the ball.
First down at the 20. They fake the draw. They go deep right side. Terrell Owens had gotten behind Burris and could not hang on to it.
Something we haven't seen from the 49ers much today is the long play, going for the big play. Burris does not get a chance to get a hand on Terrell Owens. Terrell Owens is running by him. Yes, if you're wondering, there is tripping, there is contact, but you notice the defender was also looking back for the ball. That's what they refer to as incidental.
2nd and 10, back split. And Young with another play fake. Goes deep left side, man coverage, and a good job downfield by Robert Blackman this time, and Tyrone Poole.
Tyrone Poole makes that play though, Vern. You know, he's only covering a pretty average receiver in, it's Jerry Rice. Maybe a little bit better than pretty average, you might say. Watch the job he does. He got physical. He stayed with him. Steve Young lays it in perfectly. He knocks it away to give Blackman the chance at it. I tell you, this young cornerback, Tyrone Poole, knows how to play these receivers. Remember, he had experience against San Francisco receivers when he was with Carolina and Dom Capers' aggressive defense.
He was part of the last team to win a game here against the 49ers, Carolina in '96. Here's Young across the middle. J.J. Stokes wide open. And then Hawk makes the tackle, but a gain of 22.
Now the key for San Francisco on offense right now is what I talked about earlier. You're going to make these plays, be methodical, and be efficient. This is a nice move against a soft coverage. It is a methodical, good game. Keep methodical and consistent and drop the dunk.
Stokes now has caught 7 for 76 yards. Young back again, across out of the backfield, and Edwards bobbles it and drops it.
And that just kills a guy like Mark Edwards too, that he doesn't get that many opportunities, or as many opportunities as the fullback position used to be getting out of the backfield when his running back coach Tom Rathman was as a fullback in this offense. But this second-year guy at Notre Dame at that size, 6 foot and about 230 pounds, can do it all. I saw him a lot in college, and this young man has got very, very good hands, and that was obviously not a good example of it.
2nd and 10. That's Chad Fan in motion. Blitz coming this time. Colts are bringing 5. The pass complete on the right side in front of Burris. It's J.J. Stokes again. And that's a 15-yard gain, and the 49ers move the chain.
Well, the Niners and Steve Young have figured out that 5'8" Poole is maybe not the way to go. He's playing tough and aggressive, and if they're going to get a little pad there from Jeff Burris, the former Buffalo Bill, they'll just run their big receiver Stokes straight into his face and take that easy gimme.
12:24 to go in regulation. And the 49ers, down by 14, have moved from their own 10 to the 44. Young down the middle. Irv Smith, the tight end. First down at the 19. Blackman makes the tackle, but the gain equals his number. It's 25.
The biggest difference in what we saw the last drive is when San Francisco got in this position, they made a mistake. Here they stay methodical, they stay efficient. They get a completion over the middle of the football field in a zone defense to their tight end, Irv Smith.
1st and 10. Triple wide receivers. That's Jerry Rice quickly off the line in the slot. They come to Hurst right side, and he slips and is down. Tackle made by Radcliffe Thomas, number 51. And it'll be 2nd down, a loss in the play.
A great job in this part of the football field, and Mike Shanahan got a lot of that from San Francisco with formation or motion causing mismatches.
4 wide receiver set. They go across the middle to Hurst, one-on-one. He is at the 10 and is down inside the 10 with another 1st down. 1st and goal after a 15-yard gain.
Well, you want to talk about a mismatch. Get 4 wide receivers who run the defensive backs off. That leaves a matchup with your running back and Radcliffe Thomas there, number 51. That's a mismatch in the open field situation, and that's created by proper usage of your formations. Steve Mariucci loves to do it. Mike Shanahan loves to do it. Denver finishes a lot of these off, and Steve Young and this offense doing pretty well. Need to also.
He's closing in on 300 yards, and he's trying to get his 3rd touchdown. Toss of the day.
That's an audible.
Here's Young. Incomplete. Flag thrown on Burris at the 1.
You saw Steve Young make that clapping motion to his wide receivers.
Pass interference, number 20 of the defense. Automatic 1st down.
And Steve Young looks out there, sees the defense he's getting, does that clapping motion as a message to his wide receivers to cut off the pattern and change the play.
And 1st and goal now. The 49ers will load it up. Rice is out.
Watch Steve Young, little clap left. Now that just, he's not trying to tell him he's doing a good job. It's a little early for that.
Play fake. Young will stroll in. Does it remind you of how Doug Flutie and the Bills beat Jacksonville today? Well, Steve Young, who can run with the best ever at quarterback, with a nice play fake and a touchdown on the ground himself.
There's so much more to playing the quarterback position than just being big and tall and having a good arm. I said at the very beginning of this game that I thought Steve Young was running this offense as well as it's ever been run. A lot of it is that factor. That factor is back in this offense. Steve Young is a runner.
Bobbled snap, and Ty Detmer is buried, and that leaves the deficit at 8. My, oh my.
The dumb meter just got stuck on wide open. A new way to be dumb.
9:58 to go, regulation play. Steve Young gets a rest now, but his team still down by 8 after the bad snap and the failed extra point attempt. This is Lamont Warren, who decides to bring it out and crosses the 20. Popped as he gets to the 23. Randy Kirk is the snapper. Randy Cross.
It's funny, I talked to him before the game about the plight of being a long snapper, how nobody knows what you're doing unless you mess up, and Randy, you just blew your cover. Rolls it back into the hands of the holder, Ty Detmer. And this is just one of the little things. When you play a bad game, as San Francisco did 2 weeks ago against Buffalo, they made these dumb mistakes, and Randy Kirk on the long snap there, actually you should call that a short snap, rolling it back, makes this an 8-point game, which is a 2-score situation.
1st down and 10. Colts leading by 8. Play fake. Manning comes deep left side. His receiver slips and falls. That was Jerome Pathan, number 86. And let's check in with Michelle Tafoya.
Well, Vern, Peyton Manning told me coming into this game that the Colts had the proper respect for the 49ers, but he didn't want his team to get caught up in that San Francisco mystique. He said, after all, the Colts want to have that mystique themselves someday. And he told me, quote, I just know we're going to get it done in Indianapolis. Vern?
Well, he is a remarkably poised young 22-year-old. Of course, his dad, Archie, played so well for so long in the NFL. Brother Cooper lives down in New Orleans, and his brother Eli is a fine young high school quarterback. Here's the handoff, and there's Bryant Young. Haven't called his name much today, but at a critical juncture in this ball game, there he is.
And that was another one of those deals where he just blasted through the line of scrimmage. Bryant Young right there, working against the right guard, Tony Mandris. He comes inside and is never even touched. An all-pro. You don't block him. That should be your result. You know, one thing that surprises me, though, you look at Peyton Manning's number as far as number of times thrown, 27 passes. Steve Young, 44 passes.
Out of the shotgun motion, Tariq Glenn, who is treating this week as a homecoming. Young man who played high school ball in Oakland, then played at the University of California.
False start, 78, offense, 5 yards, still third down.
And, you know, coming into the game, you just said, who's going to throw the ball more? If you have a chance to win, who's it going to be? You'd say, well, Steve Young should throw the ball about 25 to 30 times, and Peyton Manning might throw 50. Well, the shoe's on the other foot, because Young's the one with 44, Peyton Manning's the one with 27, but neither one of them really has had a bigger one than this one right now.
3rd and 20. Fourth and 24. Junior Bryant gets the sack. There's a scramble. Did the ball come loose? Apparently not.
You know, it's funny to say that on a sack, a quarterback has just made a nice play, but there's nowhere for Peyton Manning to go down the field. The smart thing to do in that situation is take your lumps and take the sack and get what you can. That was a good job. Now it turns over to Gardocki in this situation to hang one up there for coverage, because you're looking at R.W. McQuarters. You mentioned earlier, already got one called back by a penalty, but he can take it the distance.
Gardocki at the goal line. McQuarters waits at his own 41. Here comes McQuarters, and he makes the grab at the 43, heading left. Nice tackle defensively, and look who's down there. Among others, number 33, Craig Ironhead Hayward. 49ers get the ball back after a 4-yard return. They're down by 8. Simply spectacular day in the Bay Area. We are at 3Com Park, and we've got a game equal to the weather. 31-23, 49ers trail at home. They've got the ball at their own 42. 4 wide receivers in. Quick flip. And Young finds Terrell Owens for the gain to the 46. Steve Mariucci, who is more than just a little concerned right now. 2nd down and 3. His ball club trailing 31-23. Young back. There's holding on Jamie Brown, and this one's going to come back. Jamie Brown, badly beaten on the play, had no choice.
That's a hog tie, choke hold, grab him by the back, and yank him. Hold by Jamie Brown. This is an offensive line. It's got the big guys and the meats in the middle, and the athletes on the outside. And an athlete of the level they want doesn't do that.
72 of the offense, 10 yards, repeat 2nd down.
Jamie Brown, once again, brought here with a number 2 trade with the Denver Broncos. Mike Shanahan, the former Niner coach, made this trade with the 49ers, and Jamie Brown right there is just beaten extremely quickly by that game. Ellis Johnson, the defensive tackle, 62, got into his side, and all he could do to protect his quarterback is to grab the defensive tackle.
2nd down and 14. Rice, bottom of the screen, right side. Young goes left. He's got Stokes open, and Stokes makes the grab over Tyrone Poole. A 21-yard gain, move the chain. And Steve Young is getting close to the 300-yard day.
Well, that's the kind of catch right there that is made by a receiver that is very used to dealing with a Steve Young pass. You don't need me to tell you about it. Watch this thing of beauty.
And for the 6th consecutive game, Steve Young has thrown for more than 300 yards. 306 at this point. Slips the ball. No, he's in trouble. Still has it. finds an open receiver. The catch made. Levy to the 22. A gain of 13.
There's dimensions to this offense that have only been in vogue for the last half dozen or so years since this guy's been playing quarterback in this offense. 99% of the quarterbacks in the league go down there. The majority of the quarterbacks in this league maybe think about running. Steve Young always thinking about the pass.
6 straight over 300, 1st and 10. Hurst and Levy in the backfield, and a 3 wide receiver set now with 2 to the right.
The other half of that graphic, he's had 3 touchdowns 5 games in a row.
Down the middle for Jerry Rice, and Blackman was there defensively. Contact, but ruled incidental.
Well, Steve Mariucci's got to be happy right now the way this offense has responded. You know, Vern, last week we saw Denver playing Seattle and not being on their A game, but finding a way to make something happen to win a game. That's what Steve Mariucci is looking at right now with his offense. Have they been clicking totally? Well, not really. Has the team been smart and been what he wants, very disciplined? Absolutely not. But here's a situation, a winning team and a winning organization for this long seems to always find a way to pull it out.
And they've got a 2nd down and 10, staring at an 8-point margin right now. Not much of a rush. Young, good coverage, so Young will run. He's got the whole field. Here's Steve Young, battling, touchdown! They will, of course, go for 2. They are 2 of 3 on 2-point conversions this season. They need 2 to tie.
That dimension to the game that Steve Young adds. Terrell Owens down the field here is open. Steve doesn't see him and unleashes another of the classic Steve Young want-to runs, because he wants to score a lot more than the Colts defense wants to stop him.
Try for 2 is coming up, but first a timeout. '49ers called the timeout, so they've got 2 remaining. Those of you expecting to see 60 minutes, it will be along in its entirety except at its regular time, except on the West Coast and the Mountain Time Zone. Now, Owens and Rice go to the left. J.J. Stokes comes right. Hurst, the running back, the try for 2. They're 2 of 3 this season. Here's the toss into the flat. They got it. Steve Young and Jerry Rice, and we're tied at 31.
That's textbook Jerry Rice reception right there. In towards the goal line. Jim Mora has seen this receiver do this for a long time. First at New Orleans. Here's Jerry Rice. This is cleared out. He goes underneath. Repetitive, but effective. Trying to ask the linebacker or a safety to come from that deep to cover Jerry Rice. Ain't gonna happen. Quick move on Monty Montgomery. He's immediately dumped and left for Blackman. And Rice and Young have made a living for a lot of years on that kind of coverage.
Trailing 21-0 with 4 minutes gone in the 2nd quarter. The 49ers have now come back to tie it at 31. They were down 21-17 at the half. Indianapolis extended the lead to 31-17 at the end of 3, and now we're notched at 31. Young has run for 2 and thrown for 2, and again today for the 6th time in a row he has thrown for more than 300 yards.
Well, he's getting himself a little food. He's getting himself a little water. Don't fool yourself. That was a physically draining drive and very demanding on him and his body on that one.
Lamont Warren and Keith Elias are back for the Colts. Elias at the 4. A flag is down, and so is Elias.
Flag down on each side of the 30-yard line. With that kind of a agreement by our officials, a little offsides, the kickoff.
Jim Mora. Here's Walt Coleman.
Offsides. Number 30 of the kicking team. 5 yards and re-kick.
Well, the number of penalties has been diminished today for the 49ers. That's only their 6th. But
a lot of quality out of those 6, though.
There has been.
Low quantity, high quality. The kind that drives Steve Mariucci nuts. He doesn't want to hear undisciplined, but at times they have looked undisciplined.
This is an organization I think most of you around the country realize is in danger of becoming rudderless in the front office. There has been all kind of noise and commotion made, most recently this week, about Dwight Clark. Will he or will he not go back east to Cleveland, and when will he do it, if?
Well, and they've talked to Steve Mariucci about a contract extension, trying to stabilize things around here. But the bottom line is the best thing that ever happened to this organization and this football team was Eddie DeBartolo buying the team back in 1977. He will be back early next year as the owner, and the healing of the front office starts then. But until then, it's going to be ugly.
Now, Carmen Policy has already gone back, where he is heading the Cleveland franchise that will join the league next year. And here's Elias, this time from the 9 out to the 20. And he scoots out across the 20 to the 27-yard line. Darnell Walker makes the tackle.
As a former player in this offense, sometimes it just seems like stealing, and it's really not fair. And that's so easy. It really isn't fair.
And that tied it at 31. And now the young Indianapolis Colts, who had a 21-0 lead, have a first down at their own 26. Peyton Manning under his center, Jay Lewinberg, one running back who gets the handoff. It's Marshall Faulk, and he runs in to Ken Norton Jr. And let's revisit the Steve Young touchdown.
Well, I was involved in a playoff game with Steve Young against the Minnesota Vikings, where he ran a seemingly it's like forever, like 80-yard run or 65-yard run. That was beautiful. The timing on this, the effort on this, got to rank this one right up there, because he should have been down a couple of times.
2nd and 9. That's Pathan who starts in motion. There is a mix-up and flags fly. I think everybody had the snap count except Jay Lewinberg.
Prior to the snap, false start, 18 on the offense, 5 yards, still 2nd down.
Yeah, sure, go ahead, pick on the center, Vern. I tell you, as a guy who used to hold that ball, there's a lot of people can be wrong here. But if Jay Lewinberg in moving that ball, a lot of guys can be early, a lot of guys can be late.
Now wait a minute.
But he's not wrong.
You're telling me, because he's got the ball.
They didn't call it on, they called it on the quarterback.
You're telling me 10 out of 11 move, and here's the one guy who stood like a rock. 2nd down. Manning steps up, comes into the flat. Lamont Warren trying to make his cut, and he's claiming that Ken Norton impeded his progress.
This defense is impeding this offense with a little bit of help from the crowd. They're having a little trouble with their communication, and right now the execution for Peyton Manning in this offense is just a little off. Remember, last year this was the NFL's #1 defense. 2 weeks ago they were ranked 30th. Last week they shut out New Orleans. They moved up to 23rd. Right now, this defense is playing like a flashback to last year.
Here comes the blitz. 3rd and 14. Manning deep left side. Caught it! He's got the first down in the hands of a fellow rookie, Jerome Pathan. That's a 19-yard gain on 3rd and 14.
You know, those of us that aren't any longer like on a day-to-day basis playing this game, read about the contracts and the money's given to people and say, well, how could you possibly be worth that? See this pass in this situation and this kind of pressure to that small a window? That's why Peyton Manning went #1. That's why Peyton Manning makes that kind of money.
1st and 10 at the 41. 4:10 to go in regulation. Marshall Faulk tries to find room at right side, and he gets maybe 2. Tim McDonald with the tackle.
Well, there's now under 4 minutes left in this football game, and John Marshall, the defensive coordinator of the Niners, is going to do a lot of things here. But one of the things he isn't going to do is let Tim McDonald and his 49er defense be beaten by the running game of the Colts. If they have a problem here, and there's John Marshall right there, if this Colt team beats this defense, it's going to have to be Peyton Manning doing it with his arm.
2nd and 9. Here's the blitz again. Manning back, steps up, hangs on. Oh boy, he almost lost it. Roy Barker, number 92, made the initial contact.
Peyton Manning flips this ball, has it knocked out of his hands, but somehow it exits his possession and ends up in the hands of Marshall Faulk. What's the end? Chris Dolman doing a nice job getting pressure. Backside Barker from the other side. He's trying to hand it to Marshall Faulk. Now, folks, I just praised the guy about a great pass, and he goes and acts like a rookie. You don't do this. You eat it, you go down, but you don't possibly have a turnover in that situation.
3rd and 11. Here comes the blitz again. Manning looks left again. Finds Pathan again for a first down. At the 44-yard line, that's the second 3rd and long conversion, this time for 16.
Well, Peyton Manning and the Colts offense is being told, if you're going to beat us and you're going to move the ball and you're going to eat up clock, you're going to have to do it with your passing game. We're stuffing your run. Peyton Manning now has thrown 2 critical bullets back to back. There's now right at 2 minutes and 20 seconds left in this ball game.
Indianapolis has 2 timeouts remaining, so do the 49ers. Manning, 18 of 30. Hand off to Faulk, cuts it left. Now back upfield, a nice move across the 40 to the 36-yard line. And Marquez Pope makes the tackle. Don't forget 60 Minutes coming along in its entirety, except on the West Coast and the Rocky Mountain time zone. We've hit the 2-minute warning. We're notched at 31 in San Francisco. Already this season, Mike Vanderjagt, the 28-year-old rookie, has kicked 3 field goals in excess of 50 yards. 51 twice and 52. He's 15 of 16 for the year. His only miss was from 40. He hopes he gets a shot.
He's got plenty of leg, even from this distance at 53 or 54, will it be.
They slip the ball to Hayward. Whoa!
What a nice play by Ken Norton Jr. in the linebacker spot on the backside, 51. He has no business on a short yardage play being that deep in the backfield. Good anticipation. Nice job right here by Ken Norton Jr. He times his blitz almost perfectly. Tarek Glenn, 78, the left tackle, doesn't adjust fast enough. And Norton snuffs the Colt running back. 3rd and short.
Officially, they'll call it 2. Mayton barking out instructions to his teammates. Tie game. Blitz coming again. Marshall Faulk goes right. Does not get the first down. Mariucci jumping up and down as if on a trampoline on the sideline. 1:11 to go. I think he wanted his team to call a timeout. And they do.
You've just got to go ahead and kick a field goal here. Forget the length. Because this 49er defense tried to tell you earlier, if you're going to get it on us, you're going to get it through the air. You're not going to get it on the ground, and they proved their point.
Bradford Banta will snap it back. And 28-year-old Mike Vanderjagt will try and give Indianapolis another lead. 60 Minutes will follow.
Here's a guy that's been part of a couple of Grey Cup championship teams up in Canada. Came down and just took this job by storm because of his kickoffs and because of his great length and power in this kind of distance.
This is from 53 to reclaim the lead. Banta snaps it, Gardocki holds it, and Vanderjagt's kick is on the way. No!
Well, I hate to be the bringer of bad news for Jim Moore on this Colt offense, but a good snap to decent snap. Vanderjagt just comes up a little bit short. And folks, with 1 minute and 8 seconds left, you've just given the ball back to Steve Young, Jerry Rice, Garrison Hurst, and J.J. Stokes. In case you were wondering, Peyton, that isn't a good thing.
Mariucci looks on. as the 53-yarder comes up just short. And now the San Francisco 49ers, having fought back from a 21-point deficit, get the ball at their own 44, and they have one timeout left.
You've seen the young Peyton Manning, the new boss, come back with a couple of great completions earlier. Steve Young's got a couple of those completions in his old bag too.
J.J. Stokes wide right. The other two receivers are split to the left. Here's Young, quick setup, fires it out for Terrell Owens. He goes by a receiver as Poole went for the big play, and it's a gain of 12.
Well, Monty Montgomery also was part of that gamble, trying to bring him down. If you're going to play aggressive and you're going to take your spot, don't let go.
Clock showing 47 seconds left. Young, under some pressure, throws it away. That stops the clock with 43 remaining.
No, reliable has not been what you would refer to as a term for the 49er kicking game over the years. At least the last 5-6 years, Steve Mariucci's 49ers have had trouble. They've played basically kicker du jour for a considerable length of time. And the current kicker right now, Ritchie, is not an extremely strong-legged kicker. His long of the year so far is 43 yards. So the Niners still a good ways away from being inside of his range.
43 seconds to go. Back split on 2nd and 10. Colts are blitzing. Young goes deep down the left sideline, and Owens is down there. Or Stokes, rather. And a flag is thrown. And Poole and Stokes got tangled, and J.J. Stokes is going to get the call.
Tyrone Poole. Remember the old thing about don't be the last guy throwing a punch? I think he was the last guy to grab.
Pass interference, 38 of the defense. First down.
Much like the pass you saw Steve Young try to throw to Terrell Owens in the end zone, just trying to aim it around around the cornerback to the receiver. There was some contact there earlier. I got to see that again to say that was pass interference. I mean, that did not look like much.
That is the 10th penalty on Indianapolis, and it gives San Francisco a first down at the 17. Blitz again. Young chased right by Ellis Johnson. Will go out of bounds and stop the clock with 32 seconds remaining at the 14-yard line. Don't forget, 60 minutes in its entirety except in the West Coast and the Rocky Mountain time zone. That will be coming up as soon as this one is in the history books.
And by all rights, the 49ers, this game should be over and the 49ers should have lost. Because of players that Steve Mariucci has, like Steve Young, like Jerry Rice, like Ken Norton Jr., like Tim McDonald, they won't let their team lose. Steve Young specifically won't let this offense not succeed.
Stokes and Rice to the left side. Hand off to Hurst to the 6. And the clock has 20 seconds remaining.
That's okay. They're going to get up here. They're going to spike it.
And the clock is stopped with 12 seconds left.
Good poise by Steve Young. I mentioned just a little while ago about, he won't let this offense not succeed. A good example right there in a pressure situation. The lack of stress, the lack of panic in the 49er quarterback and the 49er offense. You've been in a game where you've made bad mistakes and been badly outplayed at time by an underdog team in the Colts, and here it comes down to a situation where you're just trying to set things up for your kicker.
12 seconds to go.
You've got all Hall of Famers and all-time players out on the field trying to set up a kicker. They barely know.
Young with the sneak to the 5, center of the field. And they will use their final timeout now. Well, it'll be on the right foot of Wade Ritchie. 6 seconds remaining before we see the rookie from LSU. Jim Mora brought his New Orleans Saints into this ballpark 11 times when he coached there. He won 3 times. He'd like to steal one here, but it looks bleak right now. Wade Ritchie, 1 of 2 for the day. He missed from 27, he hit from 43, he's going to have a chance to win the ball game.
Last time they were in this situation, remember Randy Kirk with the snap. Snap is critical.
Ty Detmer will hold this from straight on. 24 yards for the victory. Perfect. The 49ers once trailed by 21. Now they lead by 3.
Let's watch this snap. How Ty Detmer gets it. Perfect. Perfect hold. That's as good as you can do it under an extremely tight and pressure situation. Richie spent training camp and earlier this year with the Seattle Seahawks. And Steve Mariucci saw something he liked when they played those 2 preseason games against the Seahawks, obviously, because his young kicker has just driven a nail on Jim Mora's Colts. With leads of 21 in the first half, 14 in the second half, the Niners come back now to go up by 3.
50 yards in 8 plays. The 24-yard field goal gives San Francisco its first lead, and they have outscored the Colts by 17 points in the 4th quarter. Coming up tonight on CBS, we'll have 60 minutes in its entirety, except on the West Coast. That's next. Ball is picked up and taken back to the 40-yard line, but that's it. Chris Hetherington with the return, but Steve Young again today, over 300 yards passing. He threw for 2 and ran for 2.
Peyton Manning played well enough for Jim Mora to win this football game, but Steve Young would not let the 49ers lose. He would not let the 49ers make the mistakes that were killing them earlier. Great individual performance by Steve Young.